I live in a community of 6 priests, FSUU community. And we don't have a cook at night. And so sometimes, often we eat the same food as what we have for lunch, recycle. But sometimes everything is finished during lunch. So we take turns cooking. And because we are, most of us are at the age where we have to watch our salt intake. When we cook, at least when I cook, I deliberately don't put too much salt. And after, when we begin eating, I just tell everyone, taste it, tilawi, kung kuwag asin, dugangi. And very often, when I taste the food, it lacks salt. And when there's no salt, as we know, not all of us cook, but all of us eat. We know that when there's a lack of salt, the food is flat. And as you add salt, the flavors come out. Suddenly, the food comes alive, as it were. Not only do you taste the flavors, but the combination of flavors and the subtleties of the food, the nuances of the food, come alive, and you're able to taste it. That is perhaps what Jesus means when He calls us, and in fact challenges us, to be salt of the earth. We keep in mind that in the biblical times, in the Roman times, a soldier, a member of the Roman legion, is given a ration of salt. Salt was precious. So it was part of their monthly allotment. And it was called the salarium because it was precious. And this word comes to us today as salary. Salary, sueldo. So we see how important salt is. And salt is not just meant to season, to bring out flavors. It was precious precisely because salt also preserves. That is why ham, for example, is salty. In the days before chemical preservatives, salt is used. So especially, it's already Feb, but in December, I always look forward to eating Chinese ham. But before, in my youth, there was always Chinese ham, and a feature of Chinese ham is it's salty. Salt is used to preserve. That's why it was precious. That's why it was so important that it formed part of the salary of a Roman soldier. So when Jesus tells us, you are the salt of the earth, this comes into play, bringing out the flavors of the world, so to say, preserving the world from spoilage, giving life. You are the salt of the earth. Another feature of salt is this. It is meant, so you put enough to bring out the flavors. But if you put too much, what happens? No, makasabaan man tao, magluto tao niya, sobrang asin. Diba? Or ingnon tangaon sa mani, dagat. But see, salt is meant to be in the background. Just enough salt brings up the flavor. Too much salt destroys the food. It is meant to be in the background. It is not meant to bring attention to itself. So we begin to see what Jesus means by calling us, his disciples, salt of the earth. We are also called, Jesus uses another image, light of the world. Light, it's easier for us to understand. You only have to step out at night where there are no street lamps, and you see the need for light. Light makes us see in the darkness. And we are told light, if we are the light, we are not meant to be hidden. We are meant to be put on a stand to give light to the whole house. What does it mean then to be salt and light? Remember, this reading from Matthew is situated within the Sermon at the Mount. And just last week, we had the Beatitudes. So if we think about it and reflect on it, we become salt and light when we live the Beatitudes. And as our first reading tells us, we become salt and light if we share our bread with the hungry, shelter the oppressed and the homeless, clothe the naked, and not turn our backs on our own. In other words, we become salt and light to the extent that our lives reflect the values of the kingdom. For in the same reading, as we are called salt and light, Jesus warns us, if salt loses its taste, it is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. So friends, we are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. May our lives point to the God who loves. It is then, when our lives are filled with love, that we become truly salt of the earth and light of the world.